Welcome to Tea in the Garden, a hilariously human spiritual podcast. Here, ancient wisdom is remembered and every conversation is a wild ride.
We're three neurodivergent witchy women rooted in curiosity, creativity, and conscious living, here to spill the tea on what really matters.
From psycho-spiritual theory to ancient history, shadow work to entrepreneurship, we're not afraid to go deep, get brutally honest, and laugh a lot along the way.
I'm Lauren New.
I'm Savannah Alloway.
And I'm Priscilla Doak. Come sip the cosmic tea with us.
Hello, welcome to Tea in the Garden. Today's topic, we have a lot of giggles for, right ladies?
Oh yeah.
You sounded so serious so monotone at first, so I was like, whoa, what's happening?
The original title of this episode is, Are All Autistics Just Kinky Gays?
Yeah, we're really proud of this one, guys. I'm really excited about this topic because over the last few months, I've gone down the rabbit hole of learning more about other people's perspectives on something that I started to kind of pattern recognize myself. And I was like, are other people talking about this? I need to know. And in fact, there are people talking about it. Now, that being said, disclaimer for this episode, none of this is medical advice or information, and all of this is developing theory, even in psychology. There has been very little research done on this. There's only been a few studies that have actually happened related to this topic, but there's a lot of experiential evidence, which we're going to talk about today, and we would also love to know what your experiences in this realm are.
So we are talking the intersection of neurodivergence, BDSM, and queerness and transness.
And I wouldn't
all the colors and letters of the alphabet.
Yeah. And basically not even just BDSM, but kink and how it plays a role in the neurodivergent world.
So if you are underage, please go on to the next episode or previous episodes. The grown-ups are talking.
The mommies, the aunties are talking.
Also wanted to add, for the record, we had to put Lauren on a booster seat.
Yeah, I'm sitting on a pillow right now. I'm so
short. Now your
aura's
aura's matched by your body.
So there's three main things that we want to talk about today in these cross sections, these overlaps. Number one is queerness and neurodivergence. Then we're going to get into kink, BDSM, and sensory-seeking behaviors. And lastly, what all of these have in common underneath. We're not saying all autistic people are queer. We are saying the overlap is statistically suspicious.
We are saying it. Yes, we are.
So, let's start with number one, queerness, LGBTQ+, overlap with neurodivergence, like autism, dyslexia, ADHD, and others. So here's the data, guys. Autistic people are 8 times more likely to identify as LGBTQ+ than neurotypical populations.
I'm not surprised by that at all, but it's cool that that's actually
well, I mean,
what they've studied.
In my brain, it makes sense. If you're neurodivergent, that means your brain is not wired like the majority. And so, of course, we're going to be a little different. We're going to go more towards the non-norm. We're going to be attracted towards the non-norm.
Yes.
And so that makes sense to me. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and I feel like it's going to be a cool conversation today because, Savannah, you have like a lot of personal study over the years in neurodivergence as a whole. Lauren, you have studied psychology for many, many years.
Yes.
And I have a very spiritual theory about this, so I'll bring that perspective into the mix. Because I think there's like all angles, right, on this topic. And how my brain understands it, or I should say my spirit understands it, is that in my own experience, my own lived experience of being what would be labeled as neurodivergent and what would be labeled as queer, in my life experience, I've seen that the more we have these rebellious brains to society, right? We are an outlier, we are divergent from the cultural and societal norms, which is a really, I would say, defining factor of many neurodivergent people, is kind of this ability to veer or desire to even veer more than other people in a social group, right? Or a veering that isn't even by choice, that you're just that black sheep, right? And what I've seen as we spiritually and consciously develop in an awakening, which most of you listening are a part of that crew as well. That's what our podcast is really all about. Your ability to distinguish whom you are or are not romantically attracted to, I think, is a very different experience when you're spiritually awakened and when you're highly sensitive. And both of those things also happen to be often labeled as neurodivergence in the psychological realm, right? And so in my own lived experience, the feeling has been like, I can't even understand the ability to distinguish my love or attraction to someone for something so simple as genitals. Like, to my brain, that's like, I can't compute that, because what attracts me to someone is like their mind, their spirit, their personality, our connection, their intelligence, X, Y, and Z, right? All these factors. And so I think when we think about life in general, but also love in very non-standard ways, right? In more deep ways, there's a lot more ways we connect with other people. So I think that plays a big role in queerness.
I have a hot take on this.
Yeah.
Even for the neurotypicals. To be homophobic, to be transphobic is to be spiritually repressed.
Yeah. I honestly agree. I
All
agree
the
with
First
that.
Nations have always had many genders and didn't bat an eye at queerness, at gayness.
The largest transgender community, the oldest and largest, is in India. And it's interesting that such cultures are framed as behind, when in fact they are have been so progressive compared to like our current discussions that happen in our society.
Well, just people.
Especially in America. Yeah.
Speaking of which, non-binary and gender non-conforming identities are especially overrepresented within that 8 times more likely to be in the queer community.
Oh, there's so much to say about this. I also think it has a lot to do with evolution. And this is maybe, I don't know if this is considered fringe or not, and I think we talked about this in one of our other episodes about neurodivergence, but I genuinely have a theory that as our species evolves, we are evolving neurodivergence and we're evolving queerness. Why? Why? I think there's interesting like polar opinions on this, but I think they miss a lot in the middle. This isn't because, we've lost values, we've lost family structure. Like, there's truth in that, and also that's not part of this, the why, really, in my opinion.
What is the why?
I think the why is that as our species evolves into more and more oneness, or like a collective consciousness, right? And our way of life transcends from survival and animalistic need, which we're genuinely still completely active in, right? We are living as animals in many ways. When we continue to like go beyond those needs for only safety, food, shelter, reproduction, those same very things are bred out of us, are evolving out of us, but in a spiritually positive and significant way. I think there will always be like hetero couples to sustain a population, and that has a beautiful role to play. But I think everyone else on the spectrum that might have an unconventional relationship or a non-reproductive relationship are here for spiritual significance. They are here because they can hold non-blood-based people as their children. They are here because they are having different roles to play in like a family unit, in a tribe, right? In a community center that we're all living at together. We need these things to continue to evolve. And I think that when you're in that energy of a non-linear approach to your identity, your sexuality, it's an expansion of the mind and the heart. That's like, I don't know, that's how I see it.
Very good, very good. Yeah. And just so you guys know, in case there's any haters out there, all statistics mentioned today will be cited in the footnotes.
Thanks, Virgo.
That was beautiful. So why does this overlap make neurological sense? Autistic people do not automatically absorb rules or conform to social norms.
Precisely.
Less conformity pressure from the inside gives us more freedom to question. I think if everyone had that freedom to question.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think we're getting there, and that's why you see it's not true that there's more people. It's actually that more people are just having the ability to express it and question it.
Yeah.
Right?
Like that was one of the reasons that it was kind of a red flag to my parents of like, I struggled with conformity so much and I would always need to understand why. And if it didn't make sense, I wasn't going to follow that rule.
Yeah.
Like
you have an obsessive need to understand things generally as a neurodivergent
That
person.
reminds me of the meme, like, they never programmed me because I wasn't
Because
paying
I was
attention.
the ADHD.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't paying attention in class. The government couldn't program me. Yeah. But like, great example. That's such a good example of that.
We also see a lot of autistic people take their identity as their special interest. And let me say, special interest, every autistic's or neurodivergent hyperfixation, special interest, these topics that we go really deep into that help regulate us even when we're researching for hours and weeks and months.
It does.
They help to regulate us, but most importantly, they help us understand the world. We have this deep need to understand the world. That's why we see a lot of special interests in psychology.
Yeah.
Right? Another one?
Sociology.
So this is sociology, right? It's just like a self-practice representation, understanding.
Yes.
Like astrology is another huge one. I'm so obsessed with astrology because I can understand why the world works the way it does. That's
why people work the way they do.
That is what a special interest or hyperfixation functions as for the neurodivergent person. And so easily, like, to try and understand the world of other people and those archetypes, being really enraptured with identity, sexuality, and the sociology of that, we see it a lot with autistic people. So not only do we have the freedom to explore, but we also have the willingness and deep interest to explore.
And a drive, really. Like, it's such a drive. I think that's such an interesting experience of neurodivergent people, like you were saying, is that it's this kind of polarity of, because I think we've always felt outside and non-belonging to humanity and this planet, we have both an intense longing to understand it, and also even though we feel like alone and this like grief and pain of being outside of it, and also an insane love for it too. Right. I think it's that sensitivity to it.
Yeah, I think some, not all, I can't speak for everybody, but I think as we get to know ourselves more and we understand the way we're wired and that we're not meant to work like everybody else, I think there is a deep solitude, or not solitude, but like, what's the word I'm looking for? Self-understanding. And there's a lot of peace that is found in being an outlier and being comfortable with it. And then also finding other people who are outliers and being able to connect with them in ways that we weren't able to with the normies.
That's so true. And I think, I don't know, I'm just, as we're discussing this, I'm just thinking like, liberation is liberation. When you liberate one thing, it's like a snowball effect. If you are liberating yourself from a societal pressure around your own brain and social archetype and like the way that you function socially, which is your whole personality, right? And having to go through that journey is a massive liberation, right? In self-understanding. Of course, you might move on to all these other places where you might want to tap and see, does this work for me or doesn't it? I need to know. I got to question. I got to find out. And I think that happens a lot for people on the spectrum of neurodivergence who are seeking, like, what do I like?
Right.
as we lead into the whole like kink and sexuality component, we're like, I need to know what I like.
Right.
I gotta try it at least to know, you know, or have this like openness.
I must acquire all the data.
I have to. Like, that's literally how it feels like for me.
I feel like we're more willing to experiment and try things just so that we can, one, understand it, experience it, and oftentimes when we collect the data of like, okay, I like this, I don't like this, I enjoy this I really, really enjoy, this maybe not so much. And so I think we're just more open and willing to take in those experiences.
For sure. And I think that's a perfect segue in.
Oh, no, I gotta mention something.
Oh, please do.
Right before we get in, I got one more point. And that is a phenomenon that is tragic, but also so beautiful. And so, on the track of liberation, and that is something that happens with queer neurodivergent people, is a double unmasking. These things usually come together with
So true.
autistic people, especially marginalized groups such as women, trans people, people of color, who have masked so well out of survival and get diagnosed late, often coinciding with a coming out of the closet, so they say, when their identity is there's just this opening up, this taking of
those layers.
It's like one big layer cracks off at the same time, and so it's like, and it can happen, either can be the catalyst. Oh wow, I really do, like, I have to come to terms with the fact that I'm queer. What else about me have I been repressing for so long?
Right.
Or the late diagnosis gives permission for a more holistic, open understanding of self.
Right.
Facts.
We see these things happening together extremely often. It's intense. Like, just coming out of the closet, even just to yourself for the first time, but then socially, and then getting that diagnosis, or like, I believe in self-diagnosis. As a medically diagnosed autistic, I do very much believe in self-diagnosis, because normal people don't spend years researching if they're autistic.
That part.
And also, the DSM is made by neurotypicals.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, and sorry, but neurotypicals don't get to tell us.
Side note on that,
autistic.
to be autistic, because I made my diagnoser break down to me why I qualified. To be diagnosed autistic, you have to have like 3 for 3 social and communicative differences. And I just think those look so different in even just male versus female.
Oh my God.
But if you're late diagnosed, like I'm not anything like your 5-year-old autistic nephew. I'm a 31-year-old woman
who's learned a lot of like social development, right? That's like, you can't.
And
I had to hard
spectrum.
program that.
It's such a spectrum.
It's a spectrum, right? So you can lie anywhere on the spectrum and you're still going to be a neurodivergent person.
And I don't even think one neurodivergent person is the same as any other one.
We're all divergent in different ways. That's why I'm like having such strict criteria. So interesting to me. I'd love to see
and ineffective.
I'd love to see a peer-reviewed derived test to rival the DSM by neurodivergence.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
I'm working on it, guys. I'm working on it. So just wanted to mention that if that's happened to you, or if you're in that process of the double unmasking. I mean, if we're saying that most autistic people are somewhere in the queer community,
Many.
Yeah.
Many at the least.
A majority.
Many
a majority.
at least,
We won't say most, but a majority. Then you're going to have the double unmasking.
Yeah.
Right.
For me, it was autism at 22, queerness at 23.
Mine was coming to terms with my queerness at 15, 16.
And being in the Catholic
I don't think
Church.
that I ever cognized my neurodivergence until I was 25.
Wow.
Yeah, mine was much later as well.
26.
So I came to terms with my queerness around 22, 23. Like, I was raised in the church, right? So there's a lot of denial and guilt and shame around that. But then I did, because I masked so hard, and because I challenged myself so hard to be part of the neurotypical community. I did not get diagnosed until I was getting out of the Army.
Yeah, straight up.
28.
But like you're in the
28.
I was gonna say you were in the Army. Like how can you express
But
that?
it literally was like I am so grateful for the things that I learned from being in the military. It shaped who I was so much, but it literally sucked the soul out of my body for quite some time. So once I got out and, I got my diagnosis and I got my diagnosis of my CPTSD and all of those other things, I don't think my CPTSD would have been as bad if I was a neurotypical person, because I was having to deal with my neurodivergence
So true.
as well, and was making it like I'm the problem versus this is a lot of horrible things that are happening to me and my brain doesn't work like everybody else's.
To be neurodivergent in this modern world is to be traumatized.
That's honestly
It is.
so big. That's so true. And like I was just thinking,
And I don't mean that lightly.
Yeah, seriously. That when you, even though, because I was thinking, oh yeah, it was such a big gap for me of the one and then the other, because but it was like I wasn't even looking for it, because I already knew I'm really different. Do you know what I mean? Like I just because the one already happened inside me for so long.
That's why I'm different.
I was
like,
yeah,
No,
no,
it's
like
more.
I'm always gonna carry this. Like it feels that way, right? Like this is the secret thing inside me that some people know, some people don't, some people may never know, and some people I'll never be able to tell, and that's just my reality. So it's just I guess like the acceptance of that. So I see why they can go so much together.
And unmasking is a process. It does not happen in one day. I wouldn't even say it happens in 1 year. All right, moving on.
Part
Kink,
2.
BDSM and the sensory-seeking brain. This is genuinely one of the most neurodivergent compatible social structures.
Oh, I love it. This is where I'm like the most excited.
Rules? Clear rules?
Tell me exactly what to do and what you want very clearly.
Direct communication?
With your words.
Yeah.
And then reward me? Oh, what?
A plan
Could I ask
that we talk about before, during, and after with words that we use to communicate
Like,
where we're at? Oh, yeah.
Intense stimulation? Pressure on my body? How could I not love these things? Make it make sense.
Heavy on pressure.
Pressure.
So some neurotypicals can do both. Usually you lean towards one or the other in favoritism. That is being sensory seeking or being sensory averted. I am more sensory averted. I would like to be in a library on the moon most of the time. Just silence. Love silence. It's my favorite thing. But sometimes I'm sensory seeking.
Yeah.
You're mixed. I'm definitely sensory seeking. I'm sensory seeking pretty much all the way through. Yeah. What about you?
I think it's a mix, right?
You're ADHD.
Yeah, I enjoy the sensory, but for a certain amount of time, and then don't touch me or talk to me.
But that's true though for me too, right? So it's like, actually, I reach a limit very once it flips, it flips. I think that's the thing for all of us, right? When it
and then
flips,
it could be very overstimulating.
it's like you're immediately so overwhelmed, and it just happens. Like,
And that's when you say your safe word.
Yep. And we use the protocol.
Clear communication. Why was I doing a crap?
I don't know. You both were. I was like,
You should think about me.
what's happening?
Are you a highly sensitive empath looking to master your natural healing gifts? Have you felt your whole life that you were meant for something more? This is your invitation to join the National Intuitive Academy. Develop your psychic gifts, read tarot and astrology birth charts, authentic yoga, Reiki certifications, shamanic rites, Ayurvedic medicine, classical tantra. You are not alone. Join a community of empathic beings and teachers dedicated to your growth. We will help you master ancient healing sciences and develop spiritual business and marketing skills. Become the healer you are meant to be. Are you ready to start your journey?
So what do we love when we're sensory seeking? We love changes in temperature. We love changes in textures. We love changes in pressures. All of which are very key to
A lot of play in the
play
kink world.
kink.
Yep.
Can we define kink?
Yes, we should.
It's different than a fetish. A fetish is much more intense. It's something that someone typically requires.
They need it every time. A fetish is
Yes.
something that someone needs in every sexual encounter.
To be able
get
to
off.
reach their
climax. And then a kink is something that is fun and
enjoy.
enjoyable, but you don't have to have it all of the
Yep,
time.
exactly.
If I had it all the time, I would get bored.
Yeah. And what
Unless
kind
it
of
was your fetish.
what
Yeah.
kind of falls into the kink category is everything other than, they literally label it in this system, vanilla sex, which is like lovemaking, missionary, changing positions, nothing additional involved, you can say, right? Everything else, and there's many things a lot of you guys might be interested in and do that you don't realize is kink. Actually, almost every person I talk to, because yes, I do talk about this a lot in conversation with people, is they're almost always shocked. They're like, I never had the term for it. They were never in a kink community.
Right.
They didn't have the lingo, the education, which who cares, right? But they're like, whoa, light bulb, I guess I am not really vanilla. Like, so many people realize
Right.
that.
What's
So
that? When you see, what's that most common light bulb?
most common one is dominance and submission.
Uh-huh.
By far. I see that in so many people, including a lot of neurotypical relationships and
Right.
heterosexual relationships that very deeply enjoy that. Then, like, bondage of any kind is another, probably the most common. Even
Handcuffs.
light bondage is
Yeah.
considered kink, and a lot of people play around
Or
with that.
pinning down.
Yeah, exactly. So those are some very
If you're my mom listening,
common.
please stop.
same.
All right, we're going to go deeper.
Time to go deeper because my mom does listen to our podcast. So. Love you, Mom. Sorry.
Also, impact is a change in sensory,
Oh yes.
like seeking,
Right.
restraints. And a lot of these changes and these sensory seeking obtainments help regulate the neurodivergent nervous system.
Yes. So why do we enjoy these things, or why can we enjoy these things? It's because we literally can stay present more.
Focused, singular sensation cuts through nervous system overwhelm for the neurodivergent. See my citation.
Right. And when you have, especially when you are on the ADHD side of the spectrum, let's just say, which that's a whole other thing to talk about. When you're in that side of the spectrum,
Fast autism.
expressing hyperspeed autism, a lot happening really helps you stay here and now in your body. A strong sensation or sensory experience helps you be here and now in your body. Otherwise, your brain is like hyper developed to be light speed, bing, 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 ping pong, around a million different things. You start to notice this over there. You start to notice this
Right.
sound. All of a sudden you feel the sheets beneath you and they're irritating you and they're bothering you. You're thinking about the 20 things you have to do. Like, it can be so many things. So that intense sensory play is so amazing for being present with your partner.
Yeah.
And being there and actually feeling your body more. Like, I think it was personally, a huge game changer for me and my experience of sex as a whole, actually, because so much of my youth, very much, of course, suppressed in the church as well, like all three of us experienced, and not exploratory, right? I didn't have partners that were open to it. I just felt like I was like dirty and weird and crazy because I like
You're
thought
dirty
of
and
yeah.
weird and crazy.
I like, that's true, but I like, because I fantasized about those things. You know what I mean? I would
Right.
like fantasize and never get to express them. And I didn't really enjoy sex. Like, it was very hard.
Same.
It was very hard for me to be in my body. It was hard for me to reach climax. It was hard for me
Wow.
to feel connected to my partner, like genuinely, because not only did I have trauma, which there's another Venn diagram overlap with all of this,
Yeah.
but like this, just who I am and how I'm wired, it was very challenging for me to be with such neurotypical vanilla sex people.
Right.
And I was really with a lot of them. And then in my 20s of like this whole period of exploration, I realized like I literally have had identity shifts because of my sexual exploration. And that might sound weird to people, but like it genuinely was a huge part of my spiritual awakening and like knowledge of myself, because I could really experience me, like the core of me, when I'm like stripped down, right? And that's such an intimate space. It's such an intimate space, and it's actually inherently very innocent and very playful and very expressive of the self, right? And so I've gotten to really see that part of me come out because of being with the right people and being with people that are also as open and explorative as me.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. In my personal experience, it's in those moments of connection, the presence is there because I'm able to turn my brain off.
Right.
I'm not thinking about all of the things, and I am actually completely in the moment, which is so refreshing when you're constantly hypervigilant or you know, thinking about what you need to do next or the next step or the next decision. And so it's very nice to be in a safe environment with a partner that fully sees you, that fully honors you, and can also understand and know your kinks and provide stimulation for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So true.
Yes. Autistic kinksters describe BDSM in terms of nervous system regulation, not just pleasure. To be clear, BDSM is bondage, dominance, submission, and masochism. So, moving on, structures, rules, and explicit consent negotiation.
This is my favorite part.
It's so good.
In BDSM, everything is explicitly negotiated. What's allowed, what isn't, signals, exits, aftercare. For autistic people who find implicit or should be understood social rules exhausting, this is ideal. The rules are clear, communication is direct, everyone knows exactly what's happening.
Part of the sexiness of this aspect of it for me is that the thought of it, the discussion of it,
it's like foreplay.
Yeah, it's very sexual in nature, and that makes it even better for me than if we were to just do it.
Yes.
Right? Like talking about it, that connection is so deep, and it's such like a trust building thing that when you're in a scene or when you're playing with a partner, that's when you get to shut your brain off because we've already discussed everything. There's nothing to worry about. We already know what's going to happen here or within the bounds of what can happen here. And it's very comforting.
It is. It's super comforting. It's super regulating.
Like, I know the rules. I know how to play this game.
Yeah, like, I can be really good at this.
For me, it's more like, I know the rules, and now I'm going to break them.
Oh, so we know where you lead. But, like, yeah, and again, we all have, like, such a unique expression, right, with what we enjoy and how what helps our brain get off along with our body, or vice versa, or all of it, right?
The brain is the biggest sexual organ.
It is. It's
especially neurodivergents.
Especially for neurodivergents. And then another thing about that, many neurodivergents are hypersapiosexual. We're pervs.
Give us a definition. Oh, thanks. Glad you asked.
I'm so glad you told me. And, like, really, I think for me, it's like the knowing that I can completely stop executive function is like heaven.
So
like,
a sapiosexual is someone who's attracted to intelligent people, to intellectuals.
Deep conversation is like the greatest attraction and turn on for you.
Yeah.
And like even sexually like stimulating. And I think, at least again in my experience, there's a lot of overlap with words in particular, like verbal communication. It's also my number one love language, so there's a lot of overlap there. But being like in that experience with someone, you get to you talk about it a lot, even maybe outside of the actual bedroom, and then while you're in that experience, there's communication and instruction happening. Is just you can really allow your brain to turn off. I can really allow myself to be so present and playful and like in my body, and it's so great, you know.
It's a big way of letting go, of release.
It's totally a release of control.
Which is our next topic. Control surrender as demand avoidance. Neurodivergent people very often have PDA, which stands for pathological demand avoidance, because you told me now I'm not going to do it. AKA spitefulness. Pathological spitefulness. And so they have complicated relationships with control and authority and hierarchy. And what we see in BDSM is a often switching of the roles, sometimes back and forth, and feeling out different power dynamics. And I think that that helps us maybe understand hierarchy a little bit better.
It does. I think we can get so deep with it. I think it helps understand so much.
Well, and I feel like it gives us an ability to find the balance where we may not be able to find the balance in our day-to-day lives. This is where we can bring that scale back into alignment for us, because we can work through those dynamics and those roles
Totally.
In a space that's safe. And I mean, it does something for my brain.
Yeah, like it
Sexual
gets to
role-playing.
be so enjoyable, right?
Yeah.
And like that's a great point that you made about like helping you understand that, and like understand even yourself maybe in your own relationship to rules and commands and demand and power in general. Yeah, it's really it's very, very interesting, huh?
So when we consciously choose to surrender, control, or take it, we can find a distinction between the involuntary demand overwhelm and something that we're choosing to participate in. I feel it's very healing for PDA.
It really is. It's so healing for so many things, I feel like. It's also very healing for unhealthy experiences of power.
Right.
Yes.
And a lot of times, neurodivergent people have also been through that significantly throughout their childhood, whether it was directly in their family or definitely with authority figures in schools and things, right? Like there's lots of experiences
or
there.
in the case of, trigger warning, SA.
Exactly.
I have a friend who's SA'd as a child who was a femdom.
And that can happen to you, and you can also really heal through this, like the power dynamics. I've personally actually, to be very vulnerable, like I've had a lot of healing happen in that from my own SA that, again, mentally maybe wouldn't be what I expected. My old brain might have been like, wait, having someone else in control, is that a risk, right? Is like, do I even enjoy that? And how ironic and also beautiful, right? That of course you can like go to that other polarity and actually heal with it, where now it's like, oh, actually no, this is, I am in so much power in submission, because I know for a fact that I'm that safe with this person, and that I'm giving the gift of this to them, that like it's so empowering for me, you know, and so healing for me to be able to be in that actual real trusting space with someone and like heal that wound, right? It's like healing that old wound.
Yeah, psychologically speaking, this makes sense, right? Because we're able to reenact places where we had no power.
Exactly.
And be able to be put back in situations that maybe aren't exactly the same, but maybe trigger our nervous system or our lower thinking mind into that fight or flight, or that response of fear, and it's able to reenact it in a place of power.
Yeah.
So you can literally rewire the brain.
Exactly. It's like EMDR but sex.
The best kind.
That's my kind of EMDR.
Last bit here about neurodivergent kink overlap is that the kink community is a neurodivergent friendly space. There's explicit communication of norms, acceptance of atypical presentation, reduced pressure to perform conventional social scripts or have conventional interests and likes, and a rich subculture with vocabulary and rules to learn. Being intense is an asset.
Oh my God, I was just going to say, like, I was just realizing as you're saying this, like, light bulb, I feel like the kink world, and even again if it's just you and your partner too, like allows you to unmask like so much. I feel like I can unmask more in that world than like pretty much anywhere else. It's just because, yeah, like you said, the norm kind of in that culture, because everybody knows that we're expressing these really vulnerable and intimate things, and when we all have really different expressions of it, right? There naturally breeds this super acceptance, and like you do just see so much crossover and like such a beautiful unconditional love in that kind of world and space and communities that's created, because you're like, oh yeah, nobody bats an eye that
right,
this person wants to be in a cage, and this person wants to dress up like this every time, and this person really loves to like be dominated, and like everybody's like, yeah, okay,
yeah,
cool, what's yours, like, right? And it's just like you get to be fucking weird and so transparent and raw, And
you get to be fucking weird.
My, no pun intended, but that was good.
But that was a good one.
My ADHD brain, like, loves the fact that I can be, like, my intense, weird, explorative self in that situation. And it's encouraged, right? Like, it's encouraged and rewarded.
So pulling this all together, queerness, kink, autism.
Yeah.
I just need one more to complete the Infinity Stones.
Traumatized baddie.
Two more. Once I have the trauma stone and the witch stone, it'll be complete. So, our autistic intensity of interest, emotion, sensory input gets pathologized in everyday contexts, but within, we were just talking about the kink community and the queer community, this openness and willingness to be atypical, shift around, change, is seen across the board here. Queerness, neurodivergent, and kink share that same thread of we're not going to follow the social norm, the script. We don't want to, and look at everything we can do when we don't.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Once you've seen behind one of these curtains, it's so much easier to see behind the others. Also see trauma and witchcraft, which are not included in this episode.
Also see,
but in all
maybe
of our other ones.
Also see chronic childhood trauma and
and praying to the dark
goddess, mother and father wounds on the side.
So I just want to kind of center this word of intensity as well.
Yeah.
Like, we are
so
moving
big.
away from what is atypical and doing whatever the fuck we want. Love that. But we also see intensity in kink,
Yes.
in queer identity, and in interest.
Yeah.
So the person who feels they are too much in one way, you actually you might just not be in those communities yet. So get your little booty over there.
Yeah, if you're not celebrated and loved in one place, you may be loved and celebrated in another. You're just not in the right group or the right room or the right environment.
And a lot of times, like, just having self exposure, grace with yourself, and giving yourself the ability to actually explore these things for yourself is healing. It is the medicine. It really lets you experience so much more of who you actually are at a spiritual level. I'm telling you, like, it awakens things in you, because when you're in your truest expression, your power, right? Like, you're in your ultimate radiance. You'll see, like, things and people move around you so differently. How you feel in your body and in the world feels so different. And I think as a neurodivergent person, that is the greatest gift you could give yourself, right? Like,
become a mystery unto yourself. You don't have to know, and your identity can and should change.
Yeah, and it
your
gets to
kinks
be
can and
fluid.
should change. Your special interests sometimes change.
Rapidly at times.
So I want to take us a little deeper as we're getting towards the end of our episode, and that is when we get to be full in our intensity, get to regulate ourselves with these sensory experiences, and we can find a community doing the same, where we have that deep sense of belonging. Not only does our presence come online, so does the flow of our life. We can finally find our strange, atypical rhythm.
True.
And this is where we step into the river, the ether's river, and we float and transcend what is possible. Magic, manifestation. That's why I said witchcraft was the fifth tenet.
It is. It really is, because, like, all of this, right? This whole intersection of this episode is about, like, finding the edge. Like, where can how far can I take my mind? How far can I take my body? How far can I take this hyperfixation of mine? How far can I take this hobby? How far can I take this book? Like, that is just, we are wired for intensity. I think that was a really big key word in this discussion. And we all have a different expression of that intensity. Some are more extroverted, some are more introverted, some are more in a mix. Like, it doesn't matter. But yeah, just giving yourself the ability to express that is such a liberation.
Neurotypical people get to outsource their identities to society. Neurodivergent people have to build it from scratch. And that is not a deficit, although it is seen as one. It is a great freedom and gift. So if this is you and you felt weird all your life,
welcome to the club.
It is a curse, but it is also a gift.
Yeah. What you think? I remember young ages in early teens, young adulthood, being like, "What is wrong with me?
Literally.
Why am I so different?" And now, as a 38-year-old woman, I'm like, thank God I'm so different. Thank God my brain works differently. Not that it's better or worse, but it's just I enjoy being my full self and not feeling compelled to run with the crowd. You know, I get to go on our own adventures and find our own ways of doing things. And a lot of times, neurodivergent people are creators, inventors, artists who get to express in ways that would never be expressed if we continued to try and be like everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, we're here to heal the world. We're all healers in our own unique niches, right?
Yeah.
And it's like our ability in being ourselves and sharing that with others is so healing. And I think, again, that there's a big intersection with these realms we're talking about today. So
when you free yourself from having to be like everybody else, the sex gets way better.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
The relationships gets way better.
Everything.
The day-to-day gets so much better. Your life is just so much more juicy and exciting and full. Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys.
That's the tea.
Share with a friend, leave us a review.
And follow us on Instagram at National Intuitive Academy.